Why, hello there, everyone. It's Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. It's the Adam Carolla Subreddit podcast. I'm your host, Ken Braverman. I like to have a good time. I like to provide a podcast that those of us would like to listen to. That's why I'm here. So, we're going to talk about today's show thread with Jodie Sweetin and Court Crandall. When I saw Jodie Sweetin, I thought, wait a minute, is that the middle daughter from Full House? Yes, that is the middle daughter from Full House. We're not going to talk about Gina's claim she could afford a house. We don't care about that. But before we get to the show thread, we're going to talk about something else, which I found more interesting. Provigilant, thank you for posting this. The world's dirtiest man dies after taking first shower in 67 years. That has to get a click. What? Yep. So there are some good quotes in here, and this made me laugh. The guy was so poor he didn't even have a sink to piss in. That's funny for those who know the sink pissing joke from the Carolla Man. Okay, so took his first shower in more than 60 years, so he was 34. It was, the Beatles were just coming to power. I believe the last time he took a shower. But it's a few months after he took the shower. I agree. That means it probably wasn't shower related. He was 94, my favorite number. Apart from aversion to soap and water, the Iranian was otherwise healthy despite only eating uncooked porcupine roadkill and drinking dirty water from puddles out of a rusty oil can. Whoa. He also had a fondness for smoking animal dung out of an old boy. So what is this saying? Like, if this is true, here's what it says. And I have a analogy or a joke essentially related to this, which is I said this applies to like strippers at strip clubs, which is they've rubbed themselves up against so much disgusting man filth that they can't get herpes anymore. Like they've had enough exposure. Like it either killed them or they're alive today. Like there are probably many other Iranians who don't shower and they died. And this guy has a special mix of some genetic traits where his cells express themselves to fight bacteria in a different way because of the way he is. So I believe all of this, and it's just funny because it comes up in the Adam Carolla subforum because Adam would brag about not showering and then end up getting an eye infection from not showering. So we like to point out that hypocrisy. But let's go to today's show thread here on October 26th. Jodie Sweetin, that's right. She had a catchphrase, and I can't remember what it was. Adam takes a look at transgender TikTok star's interview with Joe Biden. Didn't know that happened. Don't really care. That's what we're starting with? Okay. Gina explains something. Oh, I'm sure the forum is going to be really happy listening to that. The process of tuckering. What are we talking about here? Next, one of the heroes who brandished the defense signs at an NFL game calls in to give insights into the story behind it. First of all, this defense, like an actual fence, like a white picket fence that you're holding up. I wouldn't believe anyone they're not saying he created it or started it. They're saying he just brandished one. Whatever. I don't know. Weird. Okay, we're still going here. Finally, actress Jodie Sweetin sits down and explains how critics never liked Full House. So it doesn't matter. Full House was successful. Aunt Becky went to prison. John Stamos is still looking like John Stamos. Bob Saget, unfortunately, has passed away. And Dave Coulier has not cut it out. Actually, Dave Coulier was a guest on the Adam Carolla show sometime in the past year, I believe. Anyway, success came from comforting the audience. You're not confronting the audience. She remembers how the cast felt like a real family. What do you know of a real family when you're a Hollywood youth star? And shares stories about her close friendships with her TV dad, Bob Saget. Okay. Writer and director Court Crandall. Anytime you have to give people multiple descriptions to talk about who they are in the show thread, it's because we do not know who they are. So you're trying to give them as many professions as possible. Writer, director, astronaut, molecular biologist, former prime minister of Wakanda. Court Crandall joins the gang to tell them about his new movie, Bromates. Is that the one where dudes are gay? I think it is. And shares his experience working with Snoop Dogg. Okay? Court and Adam, I'm right about the gay thing. Can I tell you a quick story? Oh, let me tell you all a quick story. I was in Las Vegas a few years ago, and I was visiting a friend that I grew up with who I'd not seen in many years, but I'd heard he was a big executive at one of the casinos in the special events department. And so I went to the casino, and I went to the office. I was like, hey, I was like, is this guy here? And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Ken Braverman. I know him from high school, whatever. And he got the message and he came out and I talked to him. And as I came out and I talked to him, the first thing I said to him was, I'd seen a sign at the casino that was talking about Magic Mike. Magic Mike. Magic Mike, I believe, is some type of like homosexual show. I don't know. These are the right terms. It's a gay man stripper show, I think now. I still don't know. But I got confused and I thought that Magic Mike was the name of the stand-up special that Mike Tyson was doing because Mike Tyson had been doing stand-up in Vegas. So the first thing I said to my buddy was, oh man, yeah, that Magic Mike, I really love it. I've heard great things about it. And he just looked at me and kind of just like smiled and nodded, whatever. And then we had a more in-depth conversation. But basically, I think I started off the conversation by saying, hey man, guess what? I'm gay. Even though I'm not gay, but because I made a mistake. Point is, when I see Bromates, and I think it's about gay dudes, because I saw that on the preview, I believe. Boy, I hope I'm right. I might be wrong though. It makes me laugh and think about that story about totally confusing things for no reason. Anyway, let's keep going. Court and Adam compare the times they had to pitch Ivan Reitman and their favorite ESPN spots before getting into bathroom etiquette. So Adam's bragging about pitching something to Ivan Reitman. Pitching something and getting turned down, not something to brag about, first of all. Now, keep going. Gina Grad reports the news today, including Adidas dumping, yay, over anti-Semitic remarks. Brittany Griner appeal is rejected. She's going to stay in a Russian prison for having a cartridge of weed on her. Harvey Weinstein's trial beginning in LA is, I hope he's already locked up somewhere else anyway. And Jake Paul advising bettors not to bet on Anderson Silva. That sounds like an interesting story. I wonder what that's about. I would almost suffer through a few minutes of Gina's news to find out what that is. The link to the podcast is Exotic Beauty Crystal Marie Dena. Yep. I don't know who posted that. Was it also Jay Hopkins? Can he not stop? Oh, all right. There are some comments, and there aren't too many of them. But I did just want a podcast because everybody needs it, and we all need to laugh once in a while. And I did chuckle a few times looking over the threads here in the sub forum. I didn't do a podcast about Vinny and Aaron and Fitzdog, but Fitzdog does get 77 comments. Was Fitzdog listenable? I didn't read too much. He's great. He's generally fine. I used to not like him. Now I like him. Now I like him. Any guy who has to turn Adam down when Adam is telling him to have a drink when he's like, I don't drink and I have a date on the last time I had a beer. Anybody who follows through and says no to Ace to his face, I kind of respect. He's authentic in that sense. So, yeah. All right, guys. That's the our Adam Carolla subreddit podcast for the day, Wednesday, October 26th. Good luck. May all your podcasts be listenable.